Hi, I'm reading today from the second edition of the Practical Guide for Innovators, Navigating a Corporate Landscape. And this is Chapter 2, Problem Identification, Farming. Strawberries grow in the wild, but they are usually small and difficult to find. Farmed strawberries are larger and, well, they grow where you plant them, so they're not too hard to find. We've talked plenty about farming strawberries, but how do you farm ideas? Let your imagination be your soil. The problems are like your seeds. Oh, wait, seeds are problems? Yeah, I'll refer you now to Figure 2.1, the strawberry seed packet. Sure, you got to start somewhere. By starting with a problem that a potential customer might have, you can increase the odds of your strawberry being eaten. Well, that is, by trying to solve a common industry pain point, your solution has a higher chance of being valuable. Also, highly relevant ideas are more likely to be accepted by the Patent Review Committee, the PRC, and are more likely to be funded, as we will discuss in future chapters. How do you know what your customers want? 1. Business development. 2. Voice of the customer, or VOC. 3. Technology roadmaps. 4. Gap analyses. 5. Request for information, or RFI. 6. Innovation challenges. 7. Risk registers. Each of these is discussed below. Look on my website for links to some of the sites discussed. Takeaway: find a problem worth solving. 2.1. Business development. Business development, or BD managers, are the face of a company to the customer. They attend trade shows and conferences, meet the customers, and study the market. Their research informs the technology roadmaps. To identify the BD professional associated with your program or business unit, BU, talk to your program manager, PM. In large companies, multiple BD managers support multiple BUs. That means that an innovator must find the correct BD manager for their innovation. PMs and BD managers can assist with this. Be patient if they ask a lot of questions. They're just trying to understand your innovation so that they can identify the correct market. Since BUs are divided by customer, industry, and application, managers must understand the relevant aspects of your innovation to connect you with the proper BU or individual. Once you identify the proper BD manager, set up a meeting with a clear agenda. These are busy professionals, so be respectful of their time. Understand if they answer with an email and/or decline the meeting. What they're most likely interested in knowing is, what do the customers want or need? Is there something that we do not offer but should? Do the customers have problems that we can solve? Have they recommended changes to our products that have not been implemented? Do they need tools for an adjacent market? The BD manager may not have immediate answers for you. She may need to think about it and get back to you. Follow up in a week or two. Don't be pushy, but be persistent. If you're lucky, their customers' needs can become your problems to solve. BD managers can also help find a customer for an innovation. More on that in Chapter 18, Funding Innovation. 2.2, Voice of the Customer, VOC. As they say, it is always best to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. Not to say that your customer is a horse, but regardless of who or what your customer is, it's important to hear and know their voice. In engineering design, it usually takes asking. 2.1.1, Ask. You might be asking yourself, how do you ask the customer? Well, surveys and focus groups are a great way of asking large groups of customers for feedback. And there's nothing like sitting next to the customer and observing while they use your design or product. If your BD managers and our PM are amenable, they may let you interface with the customer directly. If so, prepare questions in advance. Ask how they would improve your product or what other ways they would use it. Listen well. Sometimes people don't realize what they want or need until they verbalize it. Something they say could spark an idea or identify a hidden pain point. 2.1.2, pain points. Pain points. This term is a way of framing problems that you're trying to solve. What's your customer's pain that your product can help alleviate? Let's say that your customer depends on a certain kind of cable, and this particular cable has a high rate of being defective and needs to be scrapped or thrown away during the manufacturing process, called a high scrap rate, which is discussed more in section 3.1. High scrap rate is not only expensive, but also affects production timelines and scheduling. To account for losses from scrapping, manufacturers have to increase the cost of the cables or of other products to make up the difference. All of this is painful for program managers and customers. Someone who can innovate a process to produce a cable with lower scrap rate would make both manager and customer happier and might just be hailed as a hero. Look for those pain points, see if your idea can solve them. 2.3, technology roadmaps. A tech roadmap is a chart that depicts how a product line or BU will develop over time. Figure 2.2 shows a fictional tech roadmap for the not yet formed Strawberry Exploration Company, BerryX for short, a company that will explore the solar system. Tech roadmaps are generated by teams of engineers, PMs, BD managers, and other strategists. They are tasked with looking at where the company is, what customers want, and how tech is developed in order to decide where the company is headed. Tech roadmaps help determine where the company places its resources, i.e. people, marketing budget, and internal research and development, or IRAD, funding, which is specifically allocated to advance tech roadmap goals. Tech roadmaps can be developed by subject matter experts, SMEs, tech fellows, strategy teams, strategists, or BDs. Typically, the information in a tech roadmap is competition sensitive and proprietary, so it may have a limited distribution. That is, you may have to explain your reason for requesting information related to a tech roadmap. Furthermore, you may be asked to keep it to yourself and not share it with anyone, possibly in the form of an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. Companies create tech roadmaps in an effort to predict the market years in the future. For the innovator, tech roadmaps give a solid indication of where the company is going. Your customer may share theirs with you. Some government agencies, e.g. NASA, even publish theirs online to solicit solutions. If you can't get a customer's tech roadmap, ask your company for theirs. Great, you've acquired the map. Now what? 2.4, gap analysis. Your tech roadmap is, well, your map. Then the gap analysis is your compass. This kind of analysis can be derived from the roadmap, and it identifies the technology that must be developed to bridge the gap in order to get from today's products to the desired future products on your roadmap. To develop a gap analysis, strategists must understand where they are, where they want to be, and what is needed to get there. NASA's 2020 gap analysis includes actions taken towards bridging each gap. The list also has a column for TDK, which stands for test, demonstration, and knowledge, respectively. Test is typically a controlled lab environment experiment that proves the solution's efficacy. Demonstration may be as simple as flipping a switch, some example that shows a solution works without requiring a structured test. Knowledge can be a white paper, a technical essay, or other documented specification or procedure. Figure 2.3 shows a fictional gap analysis for Berry X. The technology needed to meet each milestone is listed at a high level. An innovator could take this list and choose a problem to solve. Talk to the SMEs to find out what has already been done and who the experts are. If the problem is being worked on, you may not want to solve it. Or maybe you already have. Tech roadmaps and the associated gap analysis inform strategy. Looking to the future will uncover problems for a motivated innovator to solve. Consider the HUT requirement on NASA's gap analysis in Figure 2.4. Sometimes a gap analysis does not exist or the company will not share it. In this case, problems might be extracted by reviewing the tech roadmap or sketching one out yourself using the knowledge you have, or by reviewing your company's all-hands meeting or town hall slides. 2.5, Requests for Information, RFI. Customers will solicit ideas for their difficult problems by posting RFIs online. Before a customer issues an RFP, a request for proposal, they may issue an RFI. This is a way for a customer to find out what the industry thinks about their planned project before they commit to a set plan by sending out an RFP. For example, Berry X may decide to outsource the engine design since designing in-house is too costly and outside their scope. So the engineering team writes a specification of what they want in a rocket engine. They issue it as an RFI for industry comment. A biodiesel company that makes fuel from composted berry stems submits a white paper attempting to sway Berry X to change the criteria for the engine to require use of biodiesel. Another company that sells engines that use fuel cells suggests that the RFP includes requirements for clean exhaust. Berry X reviews the input and, along the way, learns more about their options. They update the RFI to an RFP and include some of the suggestions from the industry sources. They are careful not to make the RFP too narrow because doing so will limit the number of companies who are eligible to bid. 2.6, Market Discriminators. An innovator looks at the RFI and sees an opportunity to innovate. An innovation that is patent pending or trade secret has the potential at this stage to be a market discriminator, something that greatly distinguishes a product from others and gives them a significant edge. Like the patented tech that allowed Polaroid to have the only instant cameras on the market for years. It can be tricky not to disclose proprietary information when sending proposals to RFPs, but it is important to keep your proprietary info guarded as best as possible before a patent application is published. A good proposal writer can allude to an innovation without revealing too many details. Berry X's engine's patent-pending fuel injector can reduce fuel use by 50%, for example. Yes, Berry Engines is also a fictional company used for illustrative purposes. 2.7, Risk Registers. Every program should have a risk register, which identifies concerns and potential obstacles of the program. Categories might include vendor delivery delays, subcontractor performance, part availability, and personnel availability. Documenting these risks can help to develop mitigations or ways to decrease the likelihood or impact of each risk. Mitigations are innovations too. If one of the risks is that our competitor is developing the same solution, then a mitigation might simply be to come up with an alternative solution. A better mitigation would be to patent the current solution so that the competitor cannot implement the same solution. Risk registers are another source of problems for innovators to solve. Let's say the risk is something along the lines of solving, insert technical challenge here, will take an unpredictable amount of time, potentially pushing the schedule out. If you can provide a unique solution to the technical challenge with a more predictable timeline, then the risk can be mitigated. No doubt, the PM will adore you and the program will be very grateful. The PM may even allocate some management reserve, or MR, funding to develop your solution. You can read more about risks in section 12.4.1 and 17.7. 2.8, Juicy Questions. Juicy questions were introduced in section 1.4. From business development to risk registers, this chapter covered a lot of ground with a lot of different questions. This summary cannot contain every possible question, but it contains some of the most important ones that can be asked on these topics. Number 1, what product or process has a high defect rate? Number 2, what product or process has a high rework rate? Number 3, what features suck or should be redesigned? 4, what features should be added? 5, what products, services, or features are customers seeking? 6, what's on the tech roadmap? 7, what products, services, or features would reduce risk on this program? 2.9, Summary. Several ways of finding problems to solve were discussed, from meeting with coworkers to reviewing customer needs. By starting with a problem relevant to our customer and business, we increase the likelihood that the PRC will vote to file a patent application of our idea and that a company or customer will invest to develop it. That's the end of Chapter 2. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'd like to remind you that the practical workbook for innovators is now available and has many more juicy questions and examples for you to follow. So I'd encourage you to purchase that wherever you purchase the book. And Christmas is coming up, so remember to gift your favorite innovator a set of the books. Happy innovating!